You might not know this, but you, the taxpayer, just mistakenly paid more than $32 million in welfare benefits last month. This is just the latest issue in a string of debacles stemming from the implementation of the state's new $120 million centralized accounting system called Luma. Leadership in the legislature already had enough of the issues with switching to the new platform, even calling for the state to revert to the old systems. Issues like these have become commonplace in the state's software purchases. Deadlines get missed and products fail to meet expectations. Luma is not the first botched rollout, but how can lawmakers make sure it is one of the last? We will discuss this next on this week's episode of Fiscal Fridays. So what happened with Luma last week? Late last Friday, IFF was informed the IDHW was managing an error with the system. According to internal communications within the department, more than 3,000 transactions were duplicated and resent at the end of the month. This resulted in more than $32 million in welfare benefits being double paid. Other issues within the software caused some transactions to get stuck in the queue. Many people, like foster families and Medicaid healthcare providers, had their payments get missed entirely. Most of the damage was done in the Medicaid program, with $22 million being overpaid. But this issue spanned many programs, ranging from childcare to energy assistance. Despite the frustration and embarrassment, there seems to be minimal harm done as a result of the issue. The State Controller's Office has reversed the overpaid transactions and is combing through the missed payments to ensure all are complete. This is just the latest in a string of issues with the management system. Right off the bat, there were issues with the system's ability to report tax collections. This meant that agencies had no way to track how much the state was spending against how much was in the bank. This left the state without any concrete financial reporting for the first quarter of the fiscal year. These experiences with software implementation seem to be typical for Idaho. One example is the state's implementation of the new Medicaid Management Information System. This is a federally required system update designed to manage the state's operations of the Medicaid program. The project was originally projected to cost $138.5 million over 5 years. The project would be fully implemented in fiscal year 2028. However, in October of 2022, IDHW noted that the cost would be $175.9 million over the same time frame. But this last legislative session updated these projections yet again. According to the statement of purpose for Senate Bill 1097, legislation that would set aside general funds for this project, the updated projected cost was now $186.6 million, and the project would now last through 2031. Mind you that this is nearly a 35% increase in spending and 3 years longer than originally expected. There were similar issues with the elections data system within the Office of the Secretary of State, too. In 2019, the state spent $3.8 million to procure an updated elections data system that housed all the office's operations, including campaign finance and lobbyist reporting. The project received many complaints for its intuitiveness and functionality. This system was not even fully implemented until the new Secretary of State Phil McGrain received his $10 million request to replace it this year. The new system is not promising, though, as the new system will be broken into 3 different software programs and require more staff to operate. One can see there are millions of tax dollars on the line for these failed projects. Luma will cost the state of Idaho $120 million over the 7 years it will take to implement. So what can we do to resolve these issues? In part, it could be a leadership issue. Project planning, staff training, and contractor accountability could be refined to improve the process, shorten timelines, and outline proactive objectives. But in the case of Luma, here's the greater point. Perhaps the government is dabbling in too many programs it shouldn't. After all, the free market works because it is decentralized and responsive to the needs of customers. By contrast, the government is centralized and more often responds to special interests. The whole point of Luma is to centralize all of these programs even further. Maybe the solution is not to improve the efficiency of these programs with a fancy new software system. Instead, efficiency might be better achieved through finding ways to allow the free market to meet the needs of the public. Ultimately, the cost of having the government do the work of the free market is more than just the loss of efficiency, cost control, or innovation. Mistakes cost millions to fix and harm those who are now dependent on these programs. Perhaps Luma is a wake-up call, one that shows us bigger government and more spending cannot compete with the private sector. Please tell us what you think. How can lawmakers address the issues with Luma in 2024? Tell us in the comments below or by sending us a message at media@idahofreedom.org. For more episodes of Fiscal Fridays or other great content from the Idaho Freedom Foundation, please visit idahofreedom.org.